short. It's not that complicated. In fact, it's going to be like a relaxing class. It's going to be easy. It's just day and time, right? Day and time. So we're going to finish this class, and probably we have time to go over, just guys, you can just replicate or reproduce what we saw in class last week with different concepts. I may give you ideas. I want this, that, and then you can do it. Okay. So I already created a package here named Date and Time Java 8 API. Okay. And I'm going to create a class, and the class is going to be called Creating. Okay, a moment. Class called Creating Date and Time. Okay. Simple. Created date and time. So I'm now going to say PSVM, which is our main method. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to print something. I'm going to print the time for now. Okay. The time for now. Just the date, today's date, right? So I'm going to say local date, which is a class, right? And is immediately imported. If I just hover it's a final class local date. It's final class. You cannot instantiate a class. It's final, right? So that class is imported, and then I'm gonna bring the method now, right? So now if I print this guy, this is what I get. Okay, this is exactly, where is it? Okay. This is today's date, right? 2020, 12/3. This is local date, just the date. Now guess, if you want to print the time, what do we do? Just guess. If local date is the date, what is the time?
Local time.
The time, right? So we get that now. And then if we print this, then we get the time, which is 5:56, right? That's the time. Okay. We can also have them together, right? We can say local date time and then dot now, right? So these three classes, they have a method named now. Okay. Now if I print this, it's going to bring both together. Okay, the date and the time. Okay. So far so good. Okay. So we have this local date, local time, and local date time to print the time now, the date now, the time now, and the date and the time now. Okay. Now we can just instantiate the class. Well, instantiate, no, create a variable, right? Create a variable. We're not instantiating this class. We're just using the variable. But the variable is a type. It has a type local date. Okay. It's like saying this, right? Similar. Right? Similar. We're just creating a string, creating a variable with type string. So we're going to create a variable with type local date, right? And then we're going to call it local date, right? Now we're going to use the same class, but now we're going to say off. And now we're going to put some data here. We're going to say the year is 2017, right? The month is going to be January, right? And the day is going to be 1. So you can see that IntelliJ will give you the year, the month, and the day of the month. Okay. Now this is something called in Java an enumeration. Okay. Enumeration is not, you see, enum. People know it as enum. Enumeration is not in the scope of this certification, okay? It's in the scope of the second certification, which is Java 2, Java Programmer 2, which is more complex, but it's not complex. It's just something new, okay? And then you can have like month, like, well, here we're not show because Well, it does here. You see the months here, right? The months. It's just an enumeration that comes from the local date class. Okay. And now I'm gonna do the same, but this time it's gonna be local time, right? And local time, right? And now when I say local time, it's just repetitive, right? And now instead of putting the values in a date, I would put the values in a time, in the time, right? So I put 10:30, and that's gonna be the hour and the minute. Okay. So now I can print these guys, right? I can say local date, right? And I would say here to make it more, okay? Or maybe like this, right? And I would do the same with local time, right? Okay. Now, if I print this, I get the date and the time extracted from these values. Okay. Whatever I put here, that's what I'm going to get here. Okay. Gets the year, the month, and the day. Right. And here give the time. Okay. 10:30. Okay. Now, I can also say system out, right? And bring the class local DateTime. Remember, that's a class too. And say off. And what do I need to pass? If I have both together, what do I need to pass? Makes sense. What do I need to pass here? It takes two arguments, one for the date and one for the time. So I would bring these two variables, right? So I can say local date and local time, right? And now if I print this, I will bring both together. Okay. Okay. So that will be local date time, right? Now I could have easily done this, right? I could have easily done this, right? Like this. So I have options, guys, right? I have options, right? I can do that too. Why not? And instead of putting this here, I could have said local date time, and I get the same thing, right? Same thing, right? Like here, if I want to print this guy, I can say sys out, and I can say local date, right? And I can say local date off, and just put this inside. Same thing. I forgot off. All right. So I can have that too. But a static, you see static here? So I would need something here like I did here before, right? Kind of different because this is a static class, right? So static member access via instance reference, okay? So I would have to do this way, okay? The way it was before. What happened here? Okay, just delete this. And then now I can just go ahead and print this, and I get the values here, okay? Now, you can also do this, right? You can just create this and do this. So this is very common before I have to import this class, import the class date, right? So this was very common before Java 8, right? Before Java 8, right? Very common. If I do this, I just get the date, right? Thursday, December 3rd, 1804. Okay, 1804 and 2020 here. So this is the format of the date in the loan format. I get the day, the month, the day in number, and the time and the year right here. Okay. Now, I have one abstract class named calendar. If I just hover over it, right, it says abstract class calendar, right? This is an abstract class that exists in Java. So I can say calendar, right? And I can say, remember that I cannot instantiate an abstract class, right? But I can bring this method from it, right? Instance, right? With just getting an instance from the calendar class, right? Now, what I want to do with that class, I want to set a time for that calendar, right? So I can say dot set, right? And here, I'm going to put 2015, right? I want to say calendar, and this is another enumeration, right? So January, right? And put the day. See? Right? This will take 3 arguments, the year, the month, and the day, right? And now I can say date, right? Which is I'm doing exactly as here. I'm saying date, January, just give it a name, January, and say calendar. Calendar, this object has one method named getTime, okay? GetTime. And guess what we're gonna get? Well, we're gonna get this time here, okay? So now if I see this out, January, then if I print this, I get January 1st, 2015, right? So my question is, can we do this? Can I resolve to set? Okay. Yeah, because this will give you this guy here. Right. Maybe we say this. Okay, it's a private class, so don't worry about that. Just experimenting here, okay? So this is how we do this, right? Now, if I print the calendar, this is something that we get here, okay? We get something pretty weird, right? We get this guy, see? Gregorian calendar time, this, and Unix. Guys, do you know Unix Unipoc time? Do you know that? The Unipoc? Have you heard about that? I think it's like this. Unix. So this is a way to, express time in an integer number. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this guy here, if you convert it to human date, it's Thursday 3rd, 2020, today, right? So this number represents today, right? So this number that we have here, you see here, this is the guy. So if I do this, and if I bring it here, copy this guy here, we get Thursday 3rd, 2020, 11. That's it. So that's calendar is printing a strange thing here, right? Set to true, all fields are true, 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 true. New York, right? Offset, get saving, a lot of things here, weird things here. Okay.
Where is it getting? Go to the end of the line. It's from you go to past. Where's in New York?
Oh, New York's at the time.
Can you go back? You keep going back. I want to see something.
That's the time zone.
Where is it getting that from? From your computer?
No, that's the time for now. This we are Easter time, right? Easter time is New York.
What happens if you're running this in India?
Oh, that will be India. It's just the time zone.
So it's getting from your computer then?
Yeah, because my computer is connected to my time zone, right?
Yeah. But it's getting the information from your local machine.
Yeah. New York time.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. So what other methods do we have here? So we have after, get, compare, equal, get calendar type, get display name, get first day of the week, get least maximum, get time zone. So let's say get time zone. Let's see what happens. Right? But we have a problem here. It says that is a time zone is required. So we have to do this. Right? Time zone, that's the type of the variable. So we print that. We get zone util calendar, zone that guy, right? We get this weird thing again, right? We're just trying to get the get time. That's what we need. And the get time has a date variable type, right? So now if we print this, then we get the time. Okay? And this is what we're getting here, right? Right? Because if I print the calendar here, we're just getting the calendar from today's date and the time now. But here we're getting January, which is get time from this guy. So that's why we print 2015, January 1st. Okay. So time zone, I've still got a little. Let's see here. Yes, we got this weird thing here. New York. Okay, what if I do this? Can we hit that? Get ID. Let's see if we get this American New York. See what happens. There you go. There you go. So
it seems like each one of those have a specific
time zone.
ID.
Yeah, get ID. Yeah, because I mean, when you look at that weird thing, right? When you look at that weird thing, let me print the weird thing now, right? Let me see this out. Time zone, right? When you get that weird thing, you have inside that square brackets, you have like properties. You have the ID here, right? And then maybe if you want to get the, let's say you want to get start month, right? Or maybe you want to get something more meaningful.
I saw that it has daylight savings. Go to the beginning, you'll see.
Daylight saving?
Right there. You went too fast, huh?
That one?
Yeah. That's daylight savings, right?
Yeah. So let us see if we can get that thing, like get this one. You see? So we can say we should get this 360,000 number, or maybe 3,600,000, that number. So we say DST Savings, right? And then we can get that number, and there you go. So we
I don't know
just,
what that means.
me neither, me neither. So what we're doing here is just accessing a property inside the time zone. Inside that calendar, we're accessing a property. We can get all the things, right? If we want to continue here with the time zone, right? Let's see if we can get something more meaningful here, right? We see there's something more meaningful here, like the time, end day, end month is October. Do we have October here? No. Start time, start date, 8. Okay, so we can get that one too. Get start date. Maybe we have that method. Get start date. No. Get. We don't have all of them. We don't have all of them. But the offset, right? The offset is 1 million or 18 million, 8 minus 18 million thousand. Okay. And then it will take some parameters here. Okay. But guys, you get the point. Okay. So we can use the calendar as after class to get an instance from there. Then this object here, suppose object, you can get the get time zone from that guy. Okay. But this is different. This is something that I added. Remember that we jumped to this guy. We got the calendar from this guy. We set a specific time in this, a specific date with the year, the month, and the day. Then we said, I want to get a date from that calendar. So we use the get time method to get the time, and then we print this guy here. Our date is not our day. It's just the date that I specify here, which was, by the way, a coincidence, a Thursday as well. Okay. So January 1st, 2015 was a Thursday. Okay. Good. So you guys understand this part here?
Yep.
Yeah, it's not difficult. It's just, playing with it. And the way you can learn this is just by playing with it. Okay. Now, let's use it. We created, let's use it now. Okay. So let me create another class. Right. And let me call the class using date and time. Right. Use days, day and time. See? Main method. Now, I will import this class again. Logo date. It's imported here by default as soon as I continue writing. Let me call date, this variable date, and let me say local date. Use the method of, and then let me introduce 2030. That's the year. The month is going to be January again, right? And the day is going to be the 10th. So the 10th of January of 2030. Okay. Now I want to print the date, and we already know what we're going to do. We're going to get. Okay. So I can say date. Right? And we already know what we're going to get. right? And then we get this date, okay? Because remember, the local date gives you the date only. Local time gives you the time. Local date time gives you the date and the time. Okay? Now, I want to do something here. I want to reassign a value to that date variable, but this time I'm going to say, use the object of this class, date, and then I'm going to say plus days. And guys, I think that this is self-explanatory. I know that you know what we're doing here, right? The word says it all. Plus date. What are we doing? What are we doing here? We're just adding 5 days to the date, right? So if this was 10, it's going to be 15, right? And we're going to do something that we taught already a long time ago. Remember the method chaining? That you can have a method and a method one after the other. So now we're going to add to that result of adding 5 to the day, right? We're going to add as well 2 months, right? So simply we just modify that date, right? Now, if I say sys out, new date, right? So we just reassign a value to this date that was already created here. Now, if I print this, the new date is going to be March 15 of 2030. Okay, we added 5 days. That's why we see 15 here. And we added 2 months. That's why we see 3rd here. And it was the first month. And here we have 3 months. So we can use this date, local date class, right? Has plus month, plus dates. It also has plus, minus months, minus weeks, minus years, plus weeks, plus years, with day of the month, with day of the year, with month, with year, query, adjust, pa. A lot of things. It has a lot of methods. Okay? Right? And this is called method chaining. Remember we saw it with strings? Remember?
Yep.
With strings, we can do it with day too. Okay? Now, let's do something similar with the time. So we have local time, right? And then we're going to say time, right? We're going to say local time off, right? Like we did before, off. And then we're going to say 10 and 30, like 10:30, right? Now we're going to print the time. Right? Perfect. So what do we get now? We get the time, 10:30. Okay? So we can simply do this. Maybe PM. Just in case you want to just put it more beautiful, right? More beautiful. Now, we're going to do the same with the time, but now we're going to alter it. We're going to alter it, right? We're going to say time, and then we're going to say plus hours. We're adding hours. We're going to add 2 hours, right? And we're going to add 20 minutes, right? Right? Now we say new time, time. Okay? Right? So the new time would be 12:50 p.m. Right? So far, so good? Okay, guys? So far, so good?
But wait a minute. What you want to,
What?
you just statically assigning PM. Don't you want to do,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be AM. It's just I put it there, you know? I just put it there to make it more beautiful, you know?
Okay.
You know, it's just you know,
Oh, we have to do a little test here. A conditional. If it's before 12, then you put AM. If it's after 12, you have to put PM, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it now with local date. So you were just playing with local date, local time, local date time. Okay. So now the one that comes is local date time, right? So local date time is the name of the variable. It is a good thing that IntelliJ gives you the name of the variable already. Okay. Now I'm gonna say local date time, like we did before, right? Of, and then we're gonna pass date and time. Okay. We just passed the two variables. Okay. The value is 2:30 January 10, like it is here, right? And the value of time is 10:30, like it was here. Okay. So now I can say local date time, okay, is local date time. Okay. So now I get this guy and I get both together. Okay. Local date time, date and time. Okay. Now, let me alter this guy because we're trying to alter and just play around with it. Let me use this guy, but now I'm going to say minus hours, 10, right? Now, but I have two. So I have access to days, weeks, years, hours, minutes, everything because it's local date time, right? So I'm gonna say, let me add 2 days, right? Let me just add 2 days. And let me add to 1 week. Okay. Right? So now if I say now new local date time, right? And this is what we get here. Right? So we added 2 days, right? Which is 17, right? 17 days. But we added 1 week. That's why we have 24. So 17 plus 7 is 24. But also we subtracted 10 hours. So it was here 12. Now it's 250. Okay. You see how it works? First, it subtracted the hours, 2. Then it adds 2 days. It's going to be 17. But on top of that, it's going to add a week. So 17 plus 7 is 24. Okay. So that's how it works. I don't know if you guys understood what happened here.
The mathematical operation using dates.
Yeah. No, it's just it follows the order here. First, it's subtract hours. That's why it becomes 2. Then it adds the 2, but you're not printing at that moment yet, right? You're still working on the days. It added 2. That was 17. But on top of that, it added a week. That's why 17 never shows. What shows is 24. Okay. I hope you guys got it. Okay. Now, let's do this. Date, my date equals new date. So let's do something that existed before before Java 8. Okay, just like we did before, right? In the other program. Now I have to import this class, right? Date util, right? Now I'm going to use the calendar. Remember that my date gives you my current date. So if I do this, I get my current date, right? December 3rd, and the time and the year, okay? Right. Now what I want to do is create a calendar, just like I did before, a calendar. Okay, and then calendar. You can say calendar that get instance, just like we did before, right? Now we want to set the calendar time to my date, right? And then oh, okay, to my date, right? This is just to work with the calendar with the current date. Before, we work with the calendar with this date, January 1st, 2015, I'm sorry. Now we are working with now, today's date, and this time, all right? So I'm gonna say calendar set, because now I want to alter the calendar. Calendar set, and then we wanna say calendar dot date, and then we're gonna say 1. And that's basically the day, okay? 1. And we're gonna see it later when we print it. Now, when I say calendar, set calendar, the month, and then 2. Okay, we're just modifying the date. Remember that today's date is December 3rd, right? Which is month 12, and actually is month 11, not 12. Month 11, because enumerations go from 0 to 11. Okay, when it's an enumeration here, like that month, if you hover over it, it's an enum, right? It says here, you see all this month starts from 0, right? January 0, February is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, right? So, let me see, one moment. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11 months. So this is gonna be March 1st, okay? And remember, this is December 3rd, okay? So basically this is 3 and the month is 11, okay? Now, I'm gonna say my date equals calendar, this object here, calendar, get time. We're trying to get the time from the calendar, okay? Now I can say modify date, my date. Remember that original this calendar here is from this date, which is today's date, but we modified it. So if I do this, we get Sunday, March 1st, 1833. We're not modifying the date, the time, we're modifying the date, okay? So this is my, if I do this, right? Okay, if I do this guy here, okay, and if I print this guy, says this out, date now, my date, right? Let's see the difference. You see, date now is December 3rd, 1834. Modified date is Sunday, March 1st, 1834. Okay, so basically we were trying here, we printed today's date, okay, because that's what we set in the calendar for with the today's date. But here we modified the day and the year and the month. That's why we get this different. I can modify, let's say if I can modify the year as well. Year. So I can say probably here 2023. Right? Now if I do this, I get Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. Okay? So what we're doing here, we're setting the day to 1. And here we're setting the month to 2. And this is March. Okay, don't forget that's March because this enumeration starts from 0. January 0, March will be 2. And here we're setting the year to 2023. Okay, that's why here we get this print, right? And here we get this print. Okay, so guys, let me know if you understand what we just did here. Guys, you here? Am I muted?
I'm on mute. What's the difference between this calendar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And local time, local date, if you can actually access the same information from both of them.
Right.
What's the purpose of one versus the other?
Okay, I put here before Java 8.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Just in case it is in the exam. You know, this is the way that it was done before. You don't need to do this anymore. You can do this, right?
You can go with, okay.
This is Java 8.
What's the library that is important? Can you go to the top?
Right. We imported time.month and util.calendar. This is an abstract class and util. For Java 8, you just import these 3. Okay. So this is Java 8, right? Right. And this is before Java 8. This is the way that you had to do it before Java 8. Right? As you can see, this is more excellent. And it's easier. It's more readable. It's more humanly readable. When you say plus hours, plus minus minutes, minus hours, plus days, plus weeks. Here you have to use an enumeration dot date, comma 1, dot month. This can be a little confusing because this is not telling you that date is the day, right? It's the day of the month, right? And this is an enumeration that people may be confused when they see number 2. They think it may be February, but it's not February because months start from 0. So January will be 0, February is 1, and March is 2. If I put here 1 and I print it, it's not going to be March anymore. It's going to be
February.
Because this is an enumeration. Enumeration starts from 0. It's like an array. Enumeration has the same concept of arrays is in enumerations. The same concept. The same concept with strings too. Remember that string is an array of characters. And the first character of the string is the character at position 0. Right? Okay. Okay. So let me show you a little trick here. Okay. So exam trick. This is an exam trick, okay? Right. So if I do local date, we're back to Java 8, right? Local date, and say local date equals local date of 2010, that's the year. Month is an enumeration, right? And that's going to be April, right? And then we put 1. So that's going to be April 1st, 2010, which is my birthday. I was 34 years back then. Okay. Good. So what happens if I do this? And this is going to bring back a concept that you already know with another class. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to add 10 days, right? And I'm going to say this out, modify, LD. LD. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay. What do you think is going to happen? Can you give me the new date, the modified date here?
It's going to be 10 days after, so it's going to be the 11th of the month, day of the month.
Okay. That's what it that's what it seems when you see it, right? Let's see what happens. You're surprised. You're surprised. We get the same thing.
No way.
Does it ring the bell? Does it ring the bell? Does it bring something back? A concept that you guys already know. Remember when the result is ignored? Remember? We go back to strings. Remember that they're immutable. This is also immutable, right? It doesn't do anything. You can put whatever you want here. You can say plus weeks, right? Right? You can say plus week, 2 weeks, minus days, 20, minus weeks, 5. You can do whatever you want. It always be April 1st, 2010. Unless you do this, that we're going to have a different date. It's the same concept as strings. Dates here, this guy local dates, they need to be stored in a variable. Otherwise, it would not change anything. Okay? So I keep it this way, and I will say here, result is ignored. Right? And if you hover over this, it will tell me that. It'll tell me result on local date minus weeks is ignored. So nothing happens, right? So this basically prints this 2010 for 10. That's what it prints. Let me just do it, right? And that's what it prints, right? Actually, it's 1, not 10, right? So let me put it exactly as it is in the print, right? That's what it prints. It doesn't matter what you have here. It will be ignored unless you reassign the value to AD, LD, or a new variable. So you can say local date LD1, right? LD1, and here you say LD1, right? Then we'll print whatever date we selected, okay? So that works. But if you don't store it, so that's for your exam, guys. That's a trick for your exam. If you don't see a variable holding that value, it will be ignored, okay? It will not print, it will not change a thing. It will be the same thing. So think about this like in strings. Remember strings? The same concept behind it, okay? So if I do this with the time, local time, right? And I say local time equals local time of, right? And I say 12:45, right? That's the hours and the minutes, hour and the minute, right? If I do LT dot plus minutes 23 plus hours 12, right? It will be nor 2. So if I do sysout modified time, right? LT, right? If I do that, I get exactly the same result, 12:24, right? 12:45. I like more. I like better. Okay. Now, if I reassign the value, LT equals this, now we get something different. Okay. Now we get 108. Okay. So the same thing will happen here. Local time, right? And local date, right? So that will be the result will be ignore, and this will print 12:45. Okay, guys, do you understand this too?
Yep.
Does it ring the bell? It does, right?
Mhm.
You go back to the concept of
Immutable.
prints,
Immutability.
immutability. Correct, correct. Okay, so now let's create another class. And this time we're going to talk about something called period. A period is just a period. That's the word. It's just a length of time between one point and another point. That's a period, right? So let's call it using period. Okay, right? Let me run it. So let me have it ready. Let me have it ready for the next run. Okay, perfect. Doesn't have anything? That's perfect. Okay, so let me create a local date as well. Okay, local date. And then we can say start, right? Start. And local date. And guys, I think that we should have a break, right? It's 6:47. How about that?
Wow. Time flies.
Yeah, time flies. Wow. Now, this is a good topic. This is a beautiful topic. I believe it's a beautiful topic. Compared to the other ones, it's just like it's like a screensaver, like a refreshing hour, like a breeze in the sea, in the beach. Okay. Yeah, compared to the other ones, it's just like, going back to, an oasis, right? Good. So let's have a break for 10 minutes and let's be back here at 7. Okay. Enjoy your break. Well, guys, we're here. So let me just taste something here. So I want to say local date, and let's say date, right? And we say local date of, or maybe now, right? Maybe I just want to extract information from there. So I can say date, get, maybe month, get month, right? So I can say the month of date, right, is, right? That's something that I can do, right? So if I print this, I get the month of this date is December, okay? Or maybe I want to get something else, okay? Maybe I want to get date, get the year, okay? So I can say the year, right? The year of date is get year, right? And then when I print that, I get 2020. Or maybe I want to get something else. Maybe I'm just splitting the date, breaking it down, like getting more information, right? Maybe I want to get the day of the week, right? Day of the week. So the day of the week, right? For this, right, is Thursday, right? Well, maybe I want to get something, let me see, get the day of the month, right? So maybe I want to get that, right? And get this guy from here, right? And then the day of the month for that is number 3, okay? I'm just breaking down this date, okay? So that you guys can use this, you know, if I want to give you an assignment or something in today's class, right? So you can get those, this local date class has this methods: get month, get year, get day of the week, get day of the month, and it has many more. It has get day of the year, okay? That one could be a good one too. So maybe I can just copy this guy. So the day of the year for the date is get date of the year, right? Now, if I print that, it's going to be the day number 338, okay? It may have more, right? It may have more methods like get month value, okay? Let's see what that one gives us to see if we can use it. This is of value for us, right? 12. That will be the month 12. So I can say the value of the month for date is, okay, that will be the month, the value of the month. So I'm just extracting values of this simple date that you can see here, guys. I'm getting everything. I'm getting the month, I'm getting the year, I'm getting the day of the week, I'm getting the day of the month, I'm getting the day of the year, and I'm getting the value of the month. So many things that we can get from this guy. Okay? So that was a little demonstration, guys, for you to see, you know, what you can get from here. Okay? So let's continue with this lesson, this part. Okay? So I already have a local date named start. That's going to give me the date. It's going to be 1st of January, 2017. Okay? Now I'm going to have a local date as well, right? But now it's going to be the end, right? And I'm going to say local date dot off, and then I'm going to say 2017. But right now we're going to say that the month is going to be April, right? And the day is going to be 30. Okay, so that's going to be like the length of time between these two dates, right? The start and the end. Now we're going to create something called period. Okay, and of course I have to import a class named period, right? Right, and I'm going to call it period. And period will has several methods. So that period, what we're going to do to that period is just add, well, actually 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. Okay, that's going to be the period. Every 2 weeks, right? Adding 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. That's the period. Okay. Now, I can say, call a method clean animal cage, right? And we're going to pass the start date, we're going to pass the end date, and we're going to pass the period, right? And of course, that's a method that we have to create. And it has to be a static method because we're calling this method from a static context. Okay, so I'm going to say public static void and then clean animal cage, and we're going to accept local date start, local date. Remember, that's the type for start and end, and then period, right? Right? We're passing a start date, which is a local date variable type. We're passing an end date, which is a local date type, and we're passing a period, which is a period type. Okay? So we create this method, we can continue so we don't have any error, and then we can run whatever code we have after. We're gonna work with the method later. Okay. Now I can print the start plus, and then we can say period, right? So a period is a period of 2 weeks. That's the period. It's a length of time, a period of time, and it's 2 weeks. Now I can print that, and this is what we get. Okay. 15, right? Remember that it was first. 14 days more is 2 weeks. It's going to be 15/1/27, 1/1/2017. So we just added 2 weeks to my start date. That's what the period does. Okay. The period, just declare it, and the period I say is going to be 2 weeks. Then I can add that 2 weeks to anything. Remember that the local date has a method named plus. Okay. So that you can add something. Okay. And that's what we're doing here. We're adding a period, and that is 2 weeks. Right. Now I can say probably here, maybe period 1, right? Period of days. And I can say 1, right? Right? Maybe I can say here plus, and then period 1. right? Let's see what happens now. It's going to be 16, right? It was 15 before, and let me print it before. Okay? Guys, are you understanding what I'm doing here? Are you guys understanding what I'm doing here?
Yes. Yes.
Original date. Okay? This is the original date without this guy, right? And then modified date, right? So this is what happened here. So you guys can see it easier, right? So I've just added first, right? And let me make it a little more. Let me see, date plus 2 weeks. Okay, and let me say original date. Okay, date, right? Right, and now I say start. Perfect. So I want you to see the differences, right? So this is date plus 2 weeks plus 1 day. Okay, so you can see it much easier. There you go. So original date, this one. Or date plus 2 weeks, this one. And day plus 2 weeks plus 1 day, this one. Do you guys see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so we're just using this period here. We're leveraging this period to add whatever period I decide. I can say, let me make it a little more complex so you guys can see it even better. So I can say period of year. I say 1, right? And now I can say, right, plus 1 year, right? And then I can say here, plus
Period 2.
period 2, right? There you go. So that's how you do it. Okay, beautiful, huh? It's beautiful. So we continue. So this guy's gonna be used later, okay? This clean animal cage. It's gonna be used later. So now I say period, year and month. Okay, year, month. And then I can say period, and I can use another method of. And then we're gonna say 1, 1, 0. Okay, we're just adding what? We're just saying 1 month, 1 month. We're not adding anything. We're just saying 1 year, 1 month, and 0 day. Now, if I print that, right, I can say year and month. Let's see what happens here. We get P1, P1, Y1, M. Okay? And that is the way that periods are declared. Okay? So I'm going to put this here so you guys can understand it a little bit better. I'm going to put this here.
What? Hold on. What was that?
Let me show you. P1. Let me show you. P1, Y1, M. Okay? So I'm going to put this here, Maria, so you can see it. Okay? Okay, so P1M is 1 month. So this P is period. right? That's 1 month, correct? PT 1M is 1 minute. PT is period of time, 1 minute. P1Y1D is a year and a day. You see the 1Y is 1 year, 1D is 1 day. So here is 1 year, 1 month. You see here, it's 1 year, 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have this. Now, if I put this one, then we're gonna get something else added to it. So we get P1 period, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day. You see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So 40 days is P40D. So if I do this period, 40 days, and I say period of, and I say 0, 0, 40. And I print $40 days. This is what we get. P40D, which is this. You see? It's just a period. It's to show you what is a period, depending on what you put inside this, right? If you would have put it a year, a month, it would say PD, P the number and D, period of 40 days. That's what it's saying. This is a period of 40 days. This is a period of 1 year and 1 day. This is a period of 3 days, 4 hours, and 59 minutes, like you say here.
So what kind of variable is this?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Uh-huh.
Weird, just Java, you know? It's a friend Java. Yeah, it's not kind of friendly, but you know, it's we call it our friend, but you know, I don't think it's not a friend of anybody. Okay. All right, so we're gonna use now the clean animal cage. Okay. Now, in this case, we're gonna say while, and of course we're gonna use our for loop while. So we're gonna call this guy, right? And then we're gonna pass the start date, the end date, and the period, which is these guys here. Okay. We say while start is before end. Get it so far? You guys get it so far? That's English, right? Remember that it's going to be increment, because we're gonna add something until it gets, they are the same, the start and the end are the same, right? And then it just breaks the loop, right? So as long as the start is before the end, we're gonna say, is this out, right? Need to clean the cage on date start, right? And then we're gonna say start equals start plus, what are we gonna add? What is the variable that we imported? Remember? 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, mm-hmm. Period.
We're gonna add 2 weeks, right? Period.
Period. Mm-hmm.
Right? And then when it becomes the same, then it will break the loop. So let's do it. Let's see what we get. Okay, so we get need to clean the date, the 1st, the 15th, the 29th, the 12th of the next month, 26th of the next month, 12th of March, 26, 29, and then when it becomes the same, which is April 30th, it doesn't print anything, it just breaks a loop. Right? Remember that the end is April 30th, right? It's another way to see a while loop, okay? Now, let me do something here so that we can, so let me do this, right? Right. And I'm gonna do it before as well. So you guys can see it better now, right? So basically what we're doing here, guys, is the same as before. Here we added, remember that we added here 2 weeks. Now we added the 2 weeks as well, but this time it's going to be inside a for loop. So it's adding and adding and adding 2 weeks every time that it loops, right? So we're getting this guy here. So if we decide to add something else, right? Like passing period 1, remember period 1? Period 1, remember? This guy here. We're going to add a date, right? And then here we're going to say period 1, right? Right? And then here, what we have to do is just plus period 1, right? Now we're going to get a different output, right? It's going to be shorter because we're adding a day, right? So it's going to get there sooner, right? Okay, so, but that's not what I wanted. I just, this is an example, right? Let me remove this guy, remove it from here, and remove it from the method call. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so we'll print it again, and this is what we get. Okay. Okay, now I can do something else. I can just create another method here. Oh. So this is the one from the method. So I have to do that side here. Okay. So I'm missing the one from the class. Okay. Right. So now I'm gonna pass these guys only. So guys, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Can someone tell me what I'm doing here? Okay, what is this called? Why do I have two methods with the same name? I don't understand this. What's going on here? What is this? Hey guys, what is this? Why do I have two methods with the same name? What is this? Can someone tell me what's going on here? Guys, can someone tell me what's going on here? have it here? What did I do here? Okay. Guys, why do I have two methods with the same name? What is this?
Isn't that overloading?
Correct. That's overloading.
I was waiting for someone else to answer, but.
Okay. That's overloading. That's exactly overloading.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Overloading. So here we're adding 2 weeks, right? And here we're adding 1 month. Okay. Right? So adding one month. And here we're adding 2 weeks. Okay. And here adding 2 months. 1 month. Okay. So let's see another thing. Let's see now. Let's format a date. Okay. Let's format a date now. So formatting DateTime. Okay. We can format the date as well. Okay, and the date and the time. So I'm gonna do the same as the other class. So I'm not going to just I'm gonna copy and paste, but different values. Okay, just copy and paste. Right, like this guy here, similar. Okay. So I'm gonna copy these guys, and then I'm gonna say this one's gonna be called date, and this one's gonna be called time, right? And then we're gonna have 2010, and the month is gonna be April, and the day is gonna be 15, and then the hour is gonna be 11, 22, 33 second. Okay, I'm adding seconds here. And then here's gonna be date, and here's gonna be time. Okay. Perfect. Right? And this is gonna be called DateTime. Okay. Okay. So now I have 3 different variables. Right? Now I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna say sysout, right? And I'm gonna say this, guys, pay attention to this. Local time. I'm gonna do that in the local time format. Okay, so I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna say DateTime format. This is a method that the DateTime has, right? We're going to format that. And then I'm gonna say DateTime formatter. I'm gonna use this class DateTime formatter, and I'm gonna say ISO local date, right? This one here, right? Now see how this prints this, okay? It's gonna print that because we're just formatting. So I can do this for you guys to understand it better. DateTime without formatting. Okay, so you can see it. DateTime. Okay, now if I print this, this is what I'm gonna get. You see, that's the DateTime without formatting. So right now, I want to get only the local date. And I put local time, it's not local time, it's local date. Right? So right now I'm getting the local date only, just the portion that has the date in that DateTime. Okay? And that's using the DateTime formatter class that has an ISO or ISO local date. Okay? and this is a static final verbal, right? That formats or parses a date without unknown set, such as this date here. So we're getting this guy here. Okay. Now I can do another one, another formatting, but right now I'm gonna say local date with a local date time. Okay. And then I can say this datetime format again, and then say datetime formatter, and we say .iso local datetime. Okay, and this gives us the same as this. Okay, so local datetime is basically the datetime without formatting. It's just the local datetime. Okay, I can do the other one, right? And this is going to be the local time, right? And I guess that by now you should know what's coming, right? Format date formatter .iso local times right here. Right?
Can you do basic? Can you do the basic ISO? Oh.
Yeah. And now we get the local time. Okay. That's what you can use with the class datetime formatter. Okay. So you can get the local date, just the portion, the date portion of the datetime. You can get the datetime completely with the date formatter, which you don't need because you can just print it from here with the datetime only without formatting, right? And you can get only the time portion of the datetime. Okay. Now, this will print. Let me see here. Let me just put here, guys. This prints this, right? We get this from here. We get this one from here. And we get this from here. Right? So we can continue. Now we can say datetime formatter because we just imported this class. We have it there. Datetime formatter, short formatter. Okay, short formatter. We can say datetime formatter, right? And we can say of localized date and say format style. That's short, right? And now we can print that. I can say datetime short format. And then we get short formatter. And this is what we get. What happened here? Oh, no. I have to do this. Format. And then we say datetime. Right? And then we can do this and we get the short format of the date. Okay. So we're getting that short formatter, right? And we're passing the datetime to get it in a short format style. And we get this guy. Okay. So this guy will print this. Right? Right. Now we can do the same DateTime formatter, and then we can say medium formatter. And I believe that you guys know what's going to happen now. Date formatter of localized date, and then we say format style dot medium, right? Right. And now I can say this out. DateTime medium format. And then we say short formatter, right? Actually, no, it's not short formatter. It's medium formatter. Medium formatter, format, and I can say DateTime. Right. Sorry, it's date. One here. Okay. And now we say this, and this is what we get. Okay, that's the medium format. Okay. So these are things that you can play with, guys, and you have to print it more beautiful, okay, more elegant. Print it this way. It just becomes a problem when you have to work with databases, because usually SQL doesn't accept this format. So you have to convert it to a different format so that SQL can accept this one. Usually SQL accepts this one, right? This format here. Or you can simply use epoch and store this as an integer in the database. And then when you bring it from the database, convert it to a date, right? In your logic, right? And then when you send it back, convert it to, again, back to epoch. Yeah. Yeah.
I saw something that said basic ISO local something.
Mm-hmm. Local time.
Local time. So what is the difference between basic and just ISO?
You said basic. Okay, let us see it.
So is the same line. When you get to the date formatter, look for basic ISO local. Right there, right down, right there. What's that? So
the basic one without dashes.
So that's
Without dashes. It's the same date without dashes. No dashes.
Interesting.
So we can say here, we can say date, no dashes. Okay, so this will print.
Either is one for the time.
So this will print this. Okay, so now let's see something more interesting and more beautiful, in my opinion. Date formatter, right? Formatter equals date formatter of pattern. And then we say M DD Y SH M. So guys, if you know about time, you know what this means, right?
With M or MM?
Minute.
No, at the beginning.
Oh, this is the month. It's only one M. Okay. So now if I say sys out, right? DateTime, format, and then what do we pass? Format, right? And we get this, right? You can also say it probably here more double M, and then you get 04, okay? Just in case you want to put 04, okay? So this is a formatter, another way using a pattern, right? Using a pattern, right? If you want to do is, you know, this is DateTime with a pattern. DateTime with pattern, okay? Right? And this will print this, okay? Right? Maybe you want to see the time only. So you can say simple formatter, simple date format. That's another class, right? And we can say simple format, right? Just the variable, the variable we want, okay? Now let's say new, we're just instantiating this class, simple format, and we're passing the pattern, right? That's a pattern, okay? Similar to this one, but instead of putting off pattern, we're just putting the pattern inside, passing the pattern. Now we send this out, so we say time with pattern, right? And then we say DateTime, right? Format, actually not DateTime, it's SF. And then we say SF format, and then we say new date. And what is the new date? Remember in Java, before Java 8, this is referring to what? What is this referring to? Now, right? So if I do this, then I get
the Gregorian
742, right? That's for now. I can do this, and then I get 742 this way. But it looks more professional, more standard if I put a 0 in between, right? Right. So this is with a simple date format. I can just pass the pattern, right? And then I get that. Right. I could probably do this, and then this. Right. And I get this, right? So it's similar to this one, right? Very similar to this one. So maybe if I do this, right, we should get the same thing, right? There you go. Okay, it's just another way to do it, right? So maybe I want to do, probably I want to do this. See what happens. 02, right? So this will return. So guys, you understanding? You guys understanding?
Yep.
Yeah. We're just formatting the DateTime the way we want, you know, by leveraging these classes, DateTime formatter, and simple date format. We're just leveraging them then and using patterns here. Pattern, you can use the pattern you want here. It just understand it. It will understand it, right? and the pattern here, and you can use these guys here, these final variables here, local date, local date time, and local time, and basic date. So now, let me do the same thing with date time for matter. I did it here. I just want to do the same thing. So I want to use this guy, but for you guys to have the two versions here, right? And I'm going to call it date time for matter. Okay. And here I want to say date time, but this time I'm going to say just like this form here. Okay. Using the same structure here. And now I'm going to say here date time. Okay. And here we're going to say date time for matter. Okay. Very similar to this one, but in data, instead of using simple date format, I'm using date time for matter. Okay. So I'm going to get this guy here, 1122. So that's going to be date time with pattern 2. Okay. From this, and of course I have 33 seconds, right? So if I do this, it's going to print 33, 1122 33, just like this. Okay. Okay. If I do this, if I simply do this, right? But instead of passing date time, I pass time. It works the same because I'm getting the time portion of that. Okay. Remember, I'm getting the time portion of that. Now this gives me a problem because this pattern doesn't match the date, right? This pattern is only for the time, right? But what if I do this, right? And here I have another pattern. I have year, date, month, all right? Maybe month, and then day. And this is organized. This is 4 minutes. And I do this. Then it works now because the date matches the pattern, right? The time is for minutes and seconds, minutes, hours, minutes, and seconds, and the date is for year, month, and day. So this will work with this, right? And by the way, let me put it here so you guys can understand it, right? So this will be time for matter, right? Time for matter. And I will remove these guys because I don't need them. Time for matter, right? And this one will not work here. And I will uncomment this out and change the pattern here, right? Hour, minute, seconds. Okay? So this pattern works with date time and time. It doesn't work with date. So this does not compile. Okay? Throw exception. Unsupported format. Okay? So now if I do this, it works. Okay? It works. Okay. Right? But what if I do this? This is what I get, right? It looks more readable this way, right? So I hope you guys understand this. Now let's do for the last portion here of this module. And now let's do some parsing. Okay. Parsing DateTime. And when you say parsing, it's simply converting. Okay. So PSVM. Okay, good. So now let's have DateTime formatter. It's going to be imported too as well. Say formatter, right? And we'll say time formatter, off pattern. We saw that already. And we're going to put a pattern here. Say month. The M is capital because you have to differentiate between the month and the minutes, right? Minutes is double M, lowercase, and month is double M, uppercase. Okay. So month, day, and year. Okay. Right. And now we're going to say local. We use the local day class, right? And we're going to say local date. And we're going to parse, right? We're going to convert, right? 02, 15, 2010, and then we're going to say formatter. Okay? Formatter. Right? We're going to use that formatter. And now we're going to say local time equals local time the name of the variable is time. Local time, that parse, and then we're going to say 11:33. Right? Now I'm going to say print, right? Date. And we're going to say print time. And this is what we get. Okay. It's just formatting that and adding these guys here. Okay. What if I have this? It's an exception. Cannot be parsed and indexed too. So we have to do this. And now it just coincides. Guys, what we're doing here is just parsing a text, because this is a text, guys, right? This is a text. And we are formatting that and parsing it into a date. So we're just parsing a string into a date. That's what this is. And you see here, it says text, right? So we are parsing, and of course, the pattern has to match the text. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay? And we're just parsing a string into a time. That's why we get the time here. Okay? So we can say parse time, right? And we can say parsed date, right? And then we get these guys, right? So you guys get what we did here? So we're converting a string into a date and a time. this is here between quotation marks. That's a string. That's a text, right? And it has to match. If this is different from the pattern, it gives you an exception. It will throw an exception. Okay. Good. So let's say string text. Let's continue parsing. Okay. And we say date formatter, right? Right? We're just passing this formatter from here, okay? Okay. And now we can say sys out, formatted, I'm not formatted, formatted, text. Text. Let's see what happens. And then we get formatting date, right? We're formatting the date like here. It's simple. Instead of putting the text in a string like here, we just put the string here. Okay. So basically this is the same as line 10. Okay. We just put the text outside and store it in a string. This is a string, the same thing, right? Now, we're going to say local date, parse date, and we're going to say local date, the parse, and then we say text formatter. Guys, tell me if this is not the same thing as this. Is it not the same thing? You see? Date, parse date, local date, parse. The text is going to be a variable that has the text inside. And the formatter. Same thing. Now, if we print the parse date, right? Parse day 2. Parse date. Then this is what we get. Same thing as here. Okay? It's just another way to do it. Right? So this will return the same as line 13. Okay. So let's do another one. Local date, my date. We say local date dot of, and then we say 2010. We saw before. Month is gonna be May, right? And the day is gonna be 5. Okay. Perfect. Now we say string, date string. We're going to say formatter. We're going to do the same as this guy here, right? Formatter, right? Dot format. And then we say my date. So now we are changing this to a day similar to this one. Okay, so we can say sys out day string, day string. Okay, let's see what we get. So we get this guy, right? What if I print sys out date here without the format, without formatting it. Okay. My date. Let's see what we get. You see, guys? So we're getting first the year, then the month, and the date. Here we get the day, the month, the date, and the year. So that's what happens when you use the formatter. Remember the formatter here, this formatter guide that I use here is this pattern, right? That's why we get the month, the date, and the year. This format is coming from this pattern here. Okay, but the date as such, when you print it, it comes this way. Right? Any date that you print here is going to come with the year, the month, and the day. But you formatted it. You want to make it based on the pattern. And this is the pattern. Okay? So this prints this guy here. And this guy prints this guy here. Right?
What about if you want to, in the formatter, if you want to put,
Here?
So instead of the number month, you want to put the letter month. So in other words, the 3 letters, APR, MAY.
What?
Is that a possibility? You see how the month you have May at the bottom?
Oh, here?
What happens if I want to put that as my, no. You don't have to delete it. If you want to make the formatter change to have May 5th, 2010, rather than
May 5th.
05/05/2010. Is that possible to do with the formatter? So
well,
instead of passing the number 05 for the month, I want the formatter to put May or June or July.
Oh, no, it cannot do that because the formatter has a pattern and it follows the letters here. There's no names.
So the pattern, is the pattern only related to numbers?
To numbers, you mean like, oh, yes, these letters here are numbers. It's a pattern. Okay? If you want to do it, like that.
Let's say you want to do May-05, the words May-05-2010.
We have to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you want to do what else?
So plus, oh, you have to actually type it all the way. Okay.
What do you want to get now? The month?
So it will, no, it's exactly what you have in the date string on the results area on the right-hand side. But instead of saying 05 for the month, I want to be able to say May-05-2010. So you have to, you're saying that you have to explicitly type everything?
Yeah, because pattern is only for numbers.
I got it.
Get month value
Mm-hmm.
and get day of the month.
Let's see what it prints out now. My date, but get
Day of the month.
day of the month. Day of the month?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you want to do it the other way, then you would do this.
It's a year, unit year.
Right.
Not day of the month.
Hmm?
Month value. What is it right here? Get month.
You want it that way?
May 5th, 2010, right? Is the date? It's a year. So my date. What?
I want the year as well. Okay, let's get the year. A moment. So let's get the year.
So the Okay.
Maybe you want to put it this way because that's a little. Maybe you want to do here. Probably you want to do my date. You can do it that way if you want to. That is another way. And let's do the last one. Okay. Let me do that one. Like say local date, another date, right? Equals local date that parse, and then we say date string and then we pass formatter, right? Okay. And then it's the same as this one, okay? But this one, instead of being date string, is text, okay? So now I can say another date, right? Equals another date plus months, and we're gonna add 5 months, and we're gonna add 5 days, okay? Right? Now we say this out. We can say formatter dot format, and we say another date. Okay. So let me print first another day here so you can see it. Okay. Right? So you guys can see it. And then here we can say another date formatted. Okay. So you guys can see it better. You see? Because here we're just adding 5 months and 5 days. Right? Okay. So that will print this. Okay, so that's what we get. Is Maria lost the connection? Maria?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So
I
Maria.
don't know what happened. I lost connection. I'm so sorry.
It happens, don't worry. So Maria, you're the one that always saves my day. You and Mr. Anand, and Mr. Luis. Okay? So I'm going to give you the chance to just get today's date, get me the month, the day of the week, the day of the month, the value of the month, the day of the year, get me all that from the date. Okay. Also, have a date like this one, right? And try to print it and format it in different ways, the way you want to format it. You can use the pattern, okay? You can use the pattern, and then you can format the day you want, the way you want. You can parse it, you can format it, like we did here before, okay? Right? You can take a look at that program. I'm gonna put this on right now. I'm gonna put it on GitHub, so maybe you can take a look at it while you're doing it, right? You can just replicate this the way you want. It's just for you guys to implement it, right? So that's gonna be real quick, right? It's 8:10. We have 20 minutes to do that, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna send that to GitHub, right? Real quick. You're gonna start preparing to share the screen, okay? Maybe you can share the screen now, right? And I'll do this in the meantime.